ever find yourself feeling like you are running in circles, that you're in the whirlwind of being a business owner and you don't know quite how to get out of that cycle of starting a new project or feeling like you can't quite find your footing? Maybe you've tried to turn a lot of your passion projects into a profitable business, but for some reason, the ideas just don't seem quite sticky enough to generate the revenue and income that you need. Have you been told, like so many other entrepreneurs, that running a business is supposed to be hard? And so you assume that this is just a part of the process? Well, if so, I want to invite you to think a little bit differently about how to turn your creative energy into a meaningful, profitable, and sustainable business today. What if there was a way to find alignment with who you serve and how you serve so that you reap not only the financial rewards, but also the mental peace that comes along with running a creative and passionate business? If that's you, let's jump in. So, if you're new to my channel, my name is Sybil, and I've been called a lot of things, but today I really love this title, Brand Cultivator. Sounds really cool. Sounds like I have been put smack dab in a garden, and I am here to help women like you cultivate brands that you not only believe in, but that are also sustainable, profitable, and legacy worthy. And today I want to talk a little bit about why not every hobby should be your side hustle and why every side hustle is not supposed to be the thing that you are known for. And so often, when I'm working with female creatives who are multi passionate and on fire to serve and do so many things, making these decisions can be really hard. How do I balance pricing versus profit? How do I balance serving in love with giving everything that I can? How do I make sure that my foundation is set while I go forth and help others? And so today we're going to tackle this topic because I find that as a fellow creative at work and a fellow multi-passionate person, that finding that separation and finding that line can be really challenging. But when you find your line, you'll figure out what you're supposed to monetize, what you're supposed to gift, and what you're supposed to hold on to just for you. I call it my refueling station. A few years ago, I was exactly where you are. Um, I was spinning my wheels. I had so many ideas, not enough time, and I wanted to execute on everything. And what I found out is that was a really quick path to burnout. Like, I have a lot of theories about why businesses fail in that first year. And if you are a multi passionate creative, chances are not figuring out what your one thing is at the top of the list. It's not that you're not generating some sort of income, it's not that you're not serving, it's not that you're not attracting people. But when you get to a place where you've got to make some really solid decisions about what you're going to be known for, it can be really challenging, especially when you don't want to give up anything, when you refuse to choose. So I get it. Was there, pulling myself out of it, went through an entire period where what I thought my highest value skill set was is not actually what it is. And so we'll talk a little bit about that journey, as well as some things that you can start doing today to get the level of clarity that you need so that you can start connecting to your ideal clients instantly. This is also where I find a lot of serialpreneurs fall into the trap of, I'll just create another business. And at some point, fellow serial entrepreneur here, we're also going to have to make a decision. The other thing that I want to suggest to you today is, if you know you are being divinely guided, you might have received like a really full vision of where God wants you to be. And today you've got to take some really intentional right steps to get there. I remember when I got my aha moment and I said, well, how do I do this, God? And I realized I was asking the wrong question. The wrong question was, how do I do this? The right question was, who do I need to start serving so that that vision can be realized? What skill set do I need to lean into so that I can serve in the ways you are calling me to serve? And when I started asking those questions, it's when I came up with the 3 dimensions of branding, which is what I want to talk to you all about today. Now, this is probably something you've never heard of, which is perfect, which means it's also a God idea and not a good idea. But it's really about figuring out how to hone your craft in a way that serves well but also fuels you. It's about figuring out how to honor who you are and all of the creative energies that you possess and anchoring it so that you have a way to refuel you, check in with yourself, and then go out and do what you are called to do. And a lot of business coaches warn against these sorts of things. They say, oh, no, don't spend time on hobbies, or you don't have time to go volunteer, or who cares about your gifts as long as you're profitable. But if you are a heart centered person like myself, if you are a multi passionate creative who wants to explore all of the avenues of your excellence, then that's really bad business advice. Yes, you need to turn a profit. Yes, you need to generate some revenue, but not everything should be monetized. And I would warn you and say that you should not try to monetize everything. There are some parts of you that should only belong to you. And when I thought about how to make sure that I could incorporate all of the parts of me while still serving successfully and turning a profit in my business, that meant I had to figure out a way to protect the other two parts of me that make me special, that I'm not compromising core parts of me while I'm going out and doing all of the other things that are going to, keep me in the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to, like having four walls and a roof and central heat and air because it's hot in Durham, North Carolina. And so I want to invite you to think that it's time to disregard one of the myths, which is you've got to monetize everything. Everything should turn a profit. Now, this is not to say that eventually some of your hobbies or gifts might not turn into something that can be monetized. But when you're thinking about separating out what you want to do first, what you're called to do, and how you want to serve globally, then this might be the path for you to take. So, like I said, having this realization led me on a soul search, on a journey, and it also led me to writing a book called Reset the Foundation. Now, if you're interested in getting clear about what you care about and how you want to serve, I highly recommend you jumping in the link below and downloading that complimentary copy of the first chapter. And that includes the 10,000 hours exercise, which is one of the things that I recommend every single creative entrepreneur do. Get clear about where your 10,000 hours of expertise really are and how you want to monetize it. So don't forget to drop in the chat and grab your complimentary copy of that first chapter. But let's dive back in. How I came to this realization is I started reading. I started studying myself and I started studying my ideal clients. And I quickly realized that the clients that I was attracting are not the people who I wanted to serve, nor was it the skill set that I wanted to serve in. What was I doing? Well, initially I was baking cakes because hashtag side hustle. And baking cakes was my side hustle and I loved it, but I hated baking hours. I loved baking, hated baking hours, but I was trying to make it work. Hello, burnout, crash and burn. And then I decided that I was going to do resume writing. I've been a strong resume writer. It's how I, accelerated that corporate ladder. And I thought to myself, I'll just write resumes. This will be fabulous. It's easy. It was easy. It was draining, and I hated it. Another burnout moment in less than 6 months. And I said, okay, wait a second, God. I got to hit pause. Something else has to happen. I was burnt out in corporate. I don't think I'm supposed to be burnt out in my business. Do I intend to work hard? Absolutely. But it didn't feel right. There was something missing. And what I came to realize is that there are skill sets that I might be great at, but they are not my sellable skills. They are not the things that I'm on fire for. They're not the things I'm passionate about. And when I had that realization, I took a big step back and started reducing the number of clients that I was taking so that I could rev up in the areas that I felt called to lead in. And so I want you to ask yourself, what do you feel called to lead in? Not just do, but like lead in, take the charge, be the thought leader, stand your stake in the ground on this one thing. What is that thing? And if you haven't figured it out, that might be because you are like me. You're passionate about a lot of things. So I want to challenge you today that if this is you, there are some things that you can start doing to separate the thing that you're passionate about, which is what you get compensated for, and the things you enjoy doing for the sake of doing them, the things that you enjoy having as a hobby so you can continue to refuel yourself. A hobby, I tell people, is that thing that refuels you. I go to church on Sunday to refuel me spiritually. I use my hobbies to refuel me creatively. When I realized that meditating meant sitting still, I said, okay, I got to find a better way to meditate while I'm moving. And that came through my hobbies, through doing puzzles, through sewing, through knitting, even though I'm not that great a knitter. And what I realized is when I had a big business problem to solve, when I needed to step away from the business, but I still wanted something to do with my hands, I would find myself sitting at the sewing machine for about an hour or so and just cranking out a garment that nobody was going to wear but me, that I could test a new pattern or try something new, and it cost me next to nothing. I realized that hobbies were there to refuel me. The second part of the three dimensions of branding was my gift. I was born innately, right? Like these are the gifts that you don't even realize you have until somebody asks you to do something. These natural talents that come with ease and you don't know quite how it got there. That is this. I was born with the gift of music. I was born a singer and a musician. I remember when I took my first harp lesson, and I sat down at the harp and I started playing. And my harp teacher said, how do you know how to play the harp? And I said, I don't know. This is really my first time. I was like, I watched some videos. Like, I remember watching Harpo with my grandmother on some episodes of I Love Lucy. I remember the Marx Brothers, but I had never played the harp. And yet, that gift was there and it presented itself and it continues to present itself. What I also realized is I didn't want to be a gigging musician. I had lived that life and it did not bring me joy. I didn't love being on the road and traveling with my instrument and showing up and doing those things, but I am on fire for music. And what I realized is I'm not supposed to get compensated for this. This is my gift to the world. And so I do things like sing on the church choir and I join the community orchestra. And that allows me to share my natural talents and abilities with the world in a way that costs me nothing. And it gives me the opportunity to give the world something that it needs. So it's an exchange of joy. And I call this my humanize me moment, right? So I've got my refuel me through my hobbies, and then I've got my humanize me, my connect me through my gifts, and then there's my passion and my talents, which if you are like me, you might have buried them because you thought you're supposed to be doing these other things. But I guarantee you, if you dig deep, there's this third class of skills that you've been honing throughout the last years or decades that, again, come naturally, but they're also probably your hard fought one skill set. And what I realized is I'm not supposed to be charging for music. I'm not supposed to be charging for sewing. I'm not supposed to be charging for baking. I'm supposed to be monetizing my business savvy for the people who are just like me. What? I have a niche, I have an audience, and I have a passion, and I have the talent for this thing. Oh, now I'm on fire. This is a question I want you to ask yourself. Can I talk about this for the next 10 years? Can I talk about this for the next 100 years? And when I said yes and yes, boom, this was the thing that I am supposed to monetize. It was not these other things that people told me that I was supposed to monetize, right? Everyone was like, oh my God, Sybil, you're such a great baker. Your cakes are awesome. Y'all, I tossed away more cakes than I sold. And it was because it never felt right. The cakes never felt good enough. They never felt like the quality or standard that I wanted. And it was a churn and burn. And I also realized, like I said earlier, I hated baking hours. There was no joy waking up at 4 a.m. and flipping on the lights in the kitchen by myself. So before I wrap up, the three dimensions of branding that I want you to consider about yourself and literally do this exercise also. Number one, list everything that you've got 10,000 hours in. And really be intentional about that, right? Because 10,000 hours is the number that they say like you should be an expert in something. Take some intentional time and list out your 10,000 hours. What are those things? And then I want you to rank them, scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, please never make me do these 10,000 hours again. 10 is, I am on fire for this. This is where my business model needs to be driving. If you're in between or on the fence about something, chances are it's a no. It might not be a 10, it might be a 6 or 7. And that might be that hobby that you protect yourself with or you refuel yourself with. Or that thing might be that gift. You're like, I love doing this and I never want to charge people for this thing, right? And when you get that list together, you'll realize that you don't have to give up on anything, that everything is a part of you. It's a part of how you show up, and it helps to anchor you so that you can serve in that highest skill set, in that talent that you are supposed to be gifting the world, giving the world, serving the world with. All right. So if you loved this video, not just liked, if you love this video, then stay tuned because I'm going to do a deeper dive in all 3 of those components. Don't forget to hit that like or subscribe so that way you get notified when the next one drops. And again, if you're interested in doing the complete 10,000 hour exercise, go in that chat and grab your complimentary copy of Reset the Foundation. It is chapter 1. It's got all the goodness in there for you. Till next time, I will see you on the other side. Don't forget to be the one, and I will see you later. Bye for now.